Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode 60. Yes, it's back. For the first time in 6 weeks. Because we read a lot of anime and read a lot of light novels. I want to take a brief break because I had an itch to start an anime, and I started 2. Yes. Do you love your mom and two multi-attacks and rest of the world? I'm very happy I got them done. I was not really happy with the OVA for Do You Love Your Mom and Two Multi-Attacks, but I'm pretty much enjoying myself. I mean, I also got a lot of light novels done. I was also able to get at least, currently as of right now, a few light novel series completely up to date. Like Combat Dispatch, I recently got that up to date, along with Sword of Ruria. Yep. And there were, I think, a few others. I also recently got back to reading Goblin Slayer first time in a year. I managed to get done book 6 recently. Now, to talk about these episodes of Super Sentai. Well, it's from Sun Vulcan. Yes, I'm still talking about Sun Vulcan. But this one is not 3 or 4 episodes. This one is 6 episodes. Episodes 12 to 17. 2 of whom focus on Queen Hedron. Let's talk about those 2 first, 12 and 17. 12 is simply like, oh, we have Queen Hedron waking up from a nightmare. Yes, an actual nightmare. And she really wants a diamond for some reason. So, the Zero goes to go steal some jewelry. It's like, nah, I need a better one. So, they go out again with a diamond-eating monster. Yes, this monster eats freaking diamonds. So, they go out and they find this perfect diamond for her. Like, yay, and then the guy eats it. It's like, damn, you gotta get to the other one. And what was it? They call it the King Solomon Blue Diamond. I personally have never heard of this diamond because I don't follow jewelry very much. Excuse me. I do admire the fact it's a very shiny piece of jewelry, but I personally have never heard of this. I am not surprised there's actually a rock that's associated with King Solomon, given the fact the guy basically was known for being one of the most wealthiest of the kings of Israel. Yeah, he was pretty wealthy. The guy basically was also a freaking genius when it comes to architecture. I mean, heck, he designed a freaking temple. Yes, he was an architect designing a freaking temple. The guy was a freaking genius. There's another thing, that guy also took with him, but like, he apparently also, get this, the rumor is that he married 500 women. Yes, the equivalent of a tiny town. He had 500 wives, but only one of the kids became king. Yeah, it was also a weird thing involving like a couple of them basically got involved with each other, but I'm not gonna go into that. Meanwhile, though, so they get, and of course, you have her eating it. Yeah, she eats a freaking diamond. Why the heck she want to eat a diamond for? Don't know. Eventually, she started choking out. Of course, she eats it out, and of course, the monster eats it. And eventually, the Sun Vulcan shows up, and they beat him up. Yeah, these guys are quite ballsy with their attack, like breaking into an actual vault just to steal jewelry. As far as I can tell, this is the first time they actually stole like jewelry. They stole various weapons per se, whatever plot they're doing, or kidnap people, but a piece of jewelry, that's quite different. But they defeat the monster at the very end, and of course get the jewel back, no problem. Oh, by the way, they got the jewel from an actual thief. Yes, a human thief known as Shadow X. It's a man who wears an eye patch. That's just noteworthy trait. He has an eye patch. Yeah, he appears just for this one episode. He barely interacts with the Sun Vulcan. You see him. He apparently gets someone involved, not with the Machine Empire. He has nothing to do with it. He's just a random one-shot character. They just completely just thrown in. It's also one of those rare times where the Sun Vulcan actually takes on a villain who is not associated with the Machine Empire. As for 17, we have it where we have this gas monster who apparently found this sludge gas, something that she'd been looking for quite some time. Apparently it was in this ghost valley. Yes, a ghost valley. I don't know if this valley exists in Japan. I have no idea. Never been in Japan. So they bring these ghosts in, who are apparently all Dark Qs. Yes, Dark Qs. Here's the thing about Dark Qs in the case of episode 12. There were no Dark Q in the episode. Nope. Of course, in the case of episode number 17, they used 3 of them. Yes, 3 Dark Qs. And you're thinking, Really? They use 3 of them? Oh yeah, really. By the way, the monsters, these ones, you have Diamond Monger, Iron Monger. Yes, seriously, there's a guy called Iron Monger. Which, wait, is that also the same name of an Iron Man villain? Yes, it is. You also have Armadillo Monster. Oh, don't worry, he gets involved plenty. Time Monger, this involves freaking treasure. Vaulting Box Monster. Yes, seriously, there's a guy creature called this damn thing. Yeah, it's one of the most weirdest things I have ever seen. Yeah, it's by far one of the most weirdest things. Yeah. So, yes. So, apparently one of these friends of one of the Sun Vulcans, yes, a friend of theirs gets involved with this stuff. So, he and another friend of his basically were basically actually was I think it was Bull Shark, I think it was. Yeah, he's the one member who actually has a lot of people associated with him per se. So yeah, so they go in this valley and they go, yeah, not only in the valley itself but also like they use some one-on-one training. What the training is looks like it helps climbing, but they really get into it. Of course, everybody's frightened out by the sludge gas. Yes, the sludge gas. I get why the sludge gas, because this is something that apparently Queen Hydra is apparently used to. But in the case of the Zero Girls and Hell Saturn, they don't like that stuff at all. They think it's stuff disgusting. Oh yeah, and the one person who's actually a brother of a one-shot character, like the older one of the two, he apparently gets affected by sludge gas, and like the only thing that changed him is his hair. I'm like, really? Yes, seriously. So when he found out that his little brother was kidnapped, by the way, he disguised himself as one of the ghosts, and so he broke in, and so the players unleashes sludge gas on the planet. But look it up, basically the Sun Vulcan was able to stop them in time. But this was quite interesting. As far as I can tell, these are the only 2 episodes where Queen Hydra is the driving force, the plot. Now, in the case of the other episodes, well, I'm going to kind of go out of order here. 15 is basically all about, well, Queen Hydra is kind of involved in this one, mostly. Yes, seriously. Yeah, it's kind of involved, but not really per se. So, the big thing with this one is apparently that there is some random person who apparently is a descendant of an actual pirate. Yes, a Japanese pirate. Now, when people in the U.S. think of, swashbuckling, 17th century, big sword, eye patch probably, but with like European style dress. Not usually think of Japanese pirates. Yes, Japanese have pirates, from what I can tell some stories. But usually, their pirates usually stuck around the shoreline. As far as I can tell, the Japanese pirates never actually sailed away from Japan that very much, from what I can tell. Unlike in the case of the European pirates, they mostly hung on the Atlantic. So they kidnapped this mechanic, who is a descendant. So they used... Apparently, get this. So they use this time monger to backwards his mind, not to a baby, but go through his memories. And they stopped around 1876. at least 1800s, like 1870s. And he turns into a freaking swordsman. Yeah, he takes out a freaking light stick and beats him. Apparently he's one of these feudal lords from the 19th century, who apparently is like the lord of the North Star Sword. Like, that's interesting. Must be before the Meiji period. And they kidnap him again. This time, they rewind him back to the actual pirate itself, which put him in the actual clothing. And then you have Queen Hedron. It was like leaning a young spunk girl, like, oh, how about I do it? Now, in the case of Hell's perspective, like, you're an old lady. And from someone like my perspective, like, she may not be that young, but she's actually she's actually not that bad looking of a woman. She looks great for her age. Now, here's the thing. The actress who plays her at this point is only 43. Yes, Queen Hedron's actual actor is only 43 years old. Unlike which about the Power Rangers, which she was in her 50s. So, she apparently goes back to her actual hair. From seeing pictures of this looks like her actual hair. And this is the first time she's not wearing some big poofy headdress. This is probably the first time since her one-shot appearance on Battlefield J she actually did this. And this is also by far the only time she has not wear the ridiculous bee hat that she wears. So, they try to do this. Of course, they also have it where the chief's daughter gets involved with this, where she goes with the son Vulcan looking for the guy. And they later on do find the actual treasure chest, but the treasure's not there. And you're thinking, why is it not there? Well, it's because apparently the treasure was taken by a mutineer. Yep, a mutineer took it. As for where it was, don't know. It's completely dropped by the very next episode. It's never mentioned again. As in the case of the guy, like, apparently he does still kind of remember the stuff he was when he was a pirate, but he just goes back being a mechanic. And as far as I can tell, he's never seen it again. I would have thought, though, it might be interesting, though, because he got involved with some Vulcan, that because he's a mechanic. One thing that would have been cool, if they hired him as a mechanic to work for the Sun Vulcan organization, the World Peacekeepers, and have them basically, like, work on their vehicles, their, like, the motorcycle or the Jeep, or heck, you could have them basically do some maintenance on the frickin' Zords. But no, he's only here for one episode. Everybody think, okay. "13" is a weird one. And you're thinking, how the heck is this a weird one? Well, this involves a black ball that's, for some reason, is associated with the Machine Empire. Apparently, this thing came from a black hole, and it turns out this is the Monger Monster. No, seriously, it is. And it is it's not the Monger. It's the... Yeah, it's the Monger. Yeah, it's also by far the weirdest creature I've ever seen in the series. Yeah. So apparently this black ball gets associated with the chief's daughter. Yeah, second time. The first of two times he's won basic, where she gets follow the plot somehow. And he somehow detects her while they're doing some stuff. Like, oh yeah, he's going on patrol while they're doing something. And he's have a detector and attacks and look up the Sun Vulcan step in and they beat the guy up. And that's basically it. It's not much this one. Yeah, it's by far the weakest one of all these episodes so far, this batch. Now, 14 is quite cool. I love this one because it involves, get this. Okay, not the actual one, mind you. Oh no, it's a completely different guy. So they bring in the UN Secretary General, who comes to Japan to fight the Machine Empire. And I'm thinking, wait, they're based in North Pole. Why you fight them in frickin' Japan? Oh yeah, because all the battles happen in Japan, obviously. So they tried to kidnap him, And actually, they do succeed kidnapping him after. And get this, their plan with him is to get this. You're gonna love this. It's original plan. Their plan is to have the basically in order to get the guy back. They apparently saw Hell Saturn contact Sun Vulcan's headquarters. I'm like, how the heck did they even get a chance to communicate? This is probably by far the first time they've ever done this in this series. Where the demand is only one thing: to raise the white flag at the UN and announcing Earth's surrender to the Machine Empire. All because they took the UN Secretary General. And the chief's like, hell no, we're not doing that. Sun Vulcan, go in there and rescue them. And by the way, the monster in this one is called the Armadillo Monster. This is also by far where Panther's ability actually plays a good role in this episode. I mean, they dig around the ground, they fight a lot. He's the one who basically fights the monster by practically half the episode. They even fight underground. They do this like whack-a-mole. I thought that was so funny. This might be an Armadillo Monster. You don't have him turn into a ball. I'm like, seriously? You don't have him turn into a ball, and yet he's the Armadillo Monster. Weak. Yes. But this is also by far a very good noteworthy episode. Now, I have read that apparently that the actual Secretary General at this point in time when the episode aired, a guy by the name of Kurt Weldon, who actually was from Austria. The one appearing in this episode is not the actual one. Nope, it just basically stated. They mentioned that the real Mills is actually. They mentioned that there's this federal investigator. Yes, a federal investigator who is at a New York airport. I'm like, that's interesting. Yeah. As for someone associated with federal, probably like a FBI. Probably the first time since Bad Fever J that actually someone in the FBI. It's also by far just a really good episode. Yes. In the case of 16, oh boy, this one. This is a very noteworthy one, just like in episode 14. This one, apparently, get this, they use a plot to, get this, brainwash children, educate children to turn against the Sun Vulcan. I'm like, okay. The way they do this is very similar to what they do with, I think it was, it wasn't, they actually, this is actually the third time in a row that they did this. Eggos did this in Battle Fever J. Yes, the very Climate Up did this for one episode. And this feels like a partial retread of a Density Man episode. Partially. But not entirely. For one thing, the main general does not take part in the episode. And he doesn't, of course, in the case of Queen Hendra, who's the main general, she does not take part in fighting Sun Vulcan this one. Nope. So what they do here is they swap out an actual teacher. Yes, a teacher. Yes. By the way, the Vulcan Monster, I don't mind his fighting ability, but man, this guy is the most lamest monster out of the entire batch of monsters. This one's so lame. Oh yeah, vault over this box multiple times. Oh, that's a threat. And he is by far, like, in the case of design-wise, the worst one I've ever seen. It's a freaking vault box. Now, I should point out, though, in American schools, we don't have this damn thing as far as I can tell. No. Oh, somehow I'm missing something. Now, I get the fact this is a staple of Japanese schools. Fine. Don't have an issue with that. It's not an issue here, mind you. And it's by far like, oh, we have this. Like, when the teacher shows up, she takes this vault box inside. Like, who let this out here? Takes the brush inside. And look, there's another one. And she just touches the top of it. And then that's when he attacks and knocks her unconscious and replaces it with Dark Q. And the plan is simply to have edited footage convincing kids that the Sun Vulcan are evil. Okay, that part was actually quite ingenious. But of course, basically, that they think Sun Vulcan is just evil and, well, but thanks to, of course, they finding the real teacher, the one who they kidnapped. I'm like, one teacher that educates some kids. I'm like, okay, that affects one small group of kids. Doesn't affect the whole freaking school. So lucky enough, they find the real teacher, and this is another episode where the chief's daughter gets involved, well, partially anyways. Yeah, one of several episodes she does get involved. Goes on the field, rescues the teacher, and of course, they do defeat the monster at the very end. Yeah. They also basically defeat him like the most interesting way, like just have him like it's gonna like whack his head. Yes, they freaking whacked the head with a fist, which I thought was so funny. Yep. But by far a very odd set of episodes, to say the least. I would say the only really good ones this batch, I would say pretty much all of them except for like episode, I would say probably 13. Yeah, 13 I didn't like very much. Nope. I thought that was the weakest. Well, you could say the diamond one was kind of weak, but start was kind of weak, but basically got better as time went on. Yep. But yeah, not much else to say about this particular episode. So yeah, so that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for next review, which will be 3 straight comic corners. Yep, 3. Okay, next video. Bye.